The poll of more than 1,300 Black adults finds that 62% of Black Americans say they're absolutely certainly going to vote. Now, this is down from 74% in June of 2020. The 12 percentage point drop outpaces the 4-point drop among Americans overall. So Americans overall say they're 4% of them say they're not going to vote. So it's a 4% drop from June of 2020, but it's a 12% drop amongst Black folks. Dr. Baker, do you put any stock in these polls? I mean, we've seen polls be all over the place. We've seen them be absolutely positively wrong. We've seen some that were pretty on point. What do you make of this poll, though?
Yeah, I looked at that and went right to the sample size. It was 1,000 cell phones and landlines. And so that tells me a lot and a little at the same time. I just think that traditional way of sampling people is going to be difficult. We all got scammers and spammers, so we're not picking up the phone. And the other thing is, to be honest, a lot of people who pick up those phones are older people. And so older people pass away and they move and things happen like that. And so, the science of polling, the right pollster, like a Celinda Lake or something like that's going to get you some different information than a USA Today poll. But I pay attention because in our hometown of Wisconsin, again, Marquette has a law school poll that oftentimes is pretty right, and I think that they see Biden is surging. Trump is surging. And I respect those numbers. And so I do think that we do have to pay attention to some polls.
No, and it's interesting you say that Trump is surging in some of these polls. So how is it, when you think about the criminal trial that he's right now, Davante, sitting in every day in Manhattan, inside a criminal court, the 91 plus charges against him, all of the accusations against him that would be disqualifying for any other candidate. And I see your Republican former lieutenant governor of Georgia has actually endorsed Joe Biden. I guess this guy, Jeff Duncan, the former lieutenant governor of Georgia, just endorsed Biden in a new op-ed and called on fellow Republicans to do the same. He said he wrote that Trump has disqualified himself through his conduct and his character, adding, unlike Trump, I belong to the GOP my entire life. This November, I'm voting for a decent person I disagree with on policy, but he is, a person that has a moral compass. So when you hear that Trump is surging, and the allegations just coming out of the Manhattan court alone of him falsifying records, lying about legal fees being legal fees when they were actually reimbursements, why isn't any of that resonating, particularly with Black voters? I mean, we care about morality. We're church-going folks. We, have been taught right from wrong, and we hold people accountable, sometimes a little slower than others, particularly if they're Black, but we're not typically one to hold white folks, to a lower standard or to give them a pass. So why are whatever number of Black voters there are willing to give Trump a pass, given all of the conduct that he's engaged in and all of the allegations, criminal allegations against him?
The only thing I can think of is it's a cult-like mentality. I can't explain it no other way than what else does one have to do or prove to you that they're just totally unfit, other than the fact that it's just a cult-like mentality. No matter what he does, this is who we're riding for. And I think he's also done a fantastic job of taking the, page out of a few playbooks for some dictators who have learned how to do that manipulation, how to turn the media or people against the media to where they don't believe information and where they see him being attacked and they're like, oh, that's because the deep state is attacking him. That is, and it doesn't make sense to me how you could say the deep state is against somebody who is also once a billionaire partying with these people. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. I just think he's done a great job of taking a lot of pages out of some dictators' books to manipulate and trick people.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of mind control because Dr. Baker, I'm thinking, look, I'm a civil rights lawyer. I've dealt with so many of these issues of the violations of Black folks' civil rights in our criminal justice system. I'm thinking if I'm a Black man that have, been stopped by the police, been harassed by the police, have had any negative encounter with the police, which is pretty much most Black men on this planet, even people like Obama, I'm mad. I'm mad that this white dude gets to walk up into court, call judges' name, call prosecutors' names, get away with everything under the sun in our criminal justice system that we know if he were African American, he would have been under the jail, years ago. So rather than, say I'm gonna run towards him, I would think there'd be more outrage amongst Black men in particular about all of the privilege and all of the advantages that he's getting in our criminal justice system.
I'm going to say it from two sides of my brain. One as an educated, formerly working class person, yes, that makes so much sense to me. But as someone who also understands hip hop culture and sexism and toxic masculinity, that seems pretty fresh. You go in the courtroom and cuss the judge out and just stand outside there, bring it, And I think, unfortunately, any Black Trumper I've met, I'm not talking about a Black Republican. I'm talking about a Black Trumper I've met. They played that role well. And so it's unfortunate. And Trump's done a great job as a master media person, sort of doing enough, bringing Kim Kardashian in, having, Kanye West stand with them to sort of confuse people. But again, it's all about the budget. And that's why I really like Joe Biden, because he's sort of a transactional leader. He says, don't show me what you value, show me your budget. And once you start looking at what Trump's really doing, he's never investing in people of color. So it should be about our
interest. No. And right now he's investing in his desire to stay out of prison. I mean, this whole campaign is really about not going to jail. So as much as he tries to identify with, I love my mug shot and blah, 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 he ain't trying to go to jail. That's the last thing he wants to do. So in his whole identify, if you're going to talk about hip hop culture where you're going to get some street cred for going to jail, that ain't what he's trying to do whatsoever. So you're right, Davante, when you talk about mind control, he definitely has done that. And a lot of folks have bought into this toxic masculinity. You mentioned Kim Kardashian, though, Dr. Baker, Davante, Kim Kardashian was in the White House meeting with the vice president on criminal justice reform. Does she get any credit for that? A lot of us thought, okay, whatever. But should she get some credit for having Kim in the White House? So not, trying to maybe pull her away from the Trump camp?
Unfortunately, because Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, is a Black woman, she won't get a pass. I feel like she's going to get, she can walk on water. And I feel like people will still find a way to attack her. Am I a big fan of a lot of the things she did as a prosecutor no, not at all. But I understand that she had a job to do at the same time. She was not a criminal defense attorney. Her job was not that. But I think no matter what she does, people are going to take shots at her, just honestly, because I think she's a Black woman.
Do you think, Rob, we saw when she ran, and I was a big part of her campaign. I mean, trying to get Black men to support her when she was running for president was close to impossible. Do you think, though, that there has been some shift amongst Black men where they are now more receptive and more favorable towards the vice president?
I think Black men have shifted. You see a lot of Black men with their kids walking around. I think the Black men are more sophisticated than ever. And there's going to be some people that are always going to remember, 3 strikes, but young people are looking for leadership. And I feel like seeing her out there is amazing. But I also hope the Democratic Party doesn't put all that weight on her, because that's not fair either. They really have to run a sophisticated campaign that gets to the grassroots, that really invests in people. So go have the meetings, but make sure you come out with the bag. Otherwise, we're going to have to go back to our people and explain what happened. And, unfortunately, they're taking too long. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, you said that hip hop culture, our would-be speaker or soon-to-be speaker, King Jeffries, he's straight up Brooklyn, is a rapper himself, is a spoken word artist. I'd love to see him out in neighborhoods doing more. There's so many surrogates like him who I think will resonate with Black voters, Black male voters, younger voters. And hopefully that's why I keep doing this topic on this show. Is just, I think we just have to keep beating that drum over and over and over again. So proud of the work you're doing, Davante. I hope that you get that national spotlight, that national opportunity to be out talking to young folks all over this country. And as Dr. Baker says, get that bag as well. because you can't do this work without any money, and nobody's asked to do it without money. So definitely in our community, we should be getting, the resources that we need to do this work. We are out of time. Thanks so much to both of you. Thanks for the work that you're both doing. We will definitely continue this conversation.